So when I work, the money that I make is to take care of myself and my family. And it's the same for you when you work. When most of you out there, when you work, the money that you make is to take care of you and your family. But for rich families, for rich people, it is very different. They do not care at all about work or working. They don't care about going to a job the way me and you go to a job. When we wake up in the morning, get dressed, rush out, maybe drop your kids off in school, and then go to work. They care more about wealth. They think more globally about wealth and what that means for them. Now, wealth has nothing to do with your job. That is the mistake that many people make. It has absolutely nothing to do with your job. Wealth has everything to do with your assets. Your assets. It has everything to do with what you own. Wealth has everything to do with what you own. Now, let me paint a picture for you. You may be walking around in your neighborhood or in your city, and you see all these big houses, these office buildings, malls, massive buildings. And you're wondering that who owns these buildings? They are owned by someone. They just didn't appear out of nowhere. Somebody built them. Someone owns them. Now you may say, oh, maybe it's a bank that owns them. But who owns the banks, right? Who owns the banks? Ultimately, there is someone behind everything that you see out there. Now, for regular people, what we own, what we consider our wealth, is built in our homes, right? So if you buy a home, as an example, that is what you own. So assuming your grandfather or father came back from World War II in the 40s or in the 50s and bought some house in New York. Maybe he bought it for $30,000 at the time. That house is probably now worth $3 million right now. Now, if that house stays in your family, right, what it means is that your family continues to reap the benefits of that home. Say you rent that house out and you get, $50,000 a year from that house. That is $50,000 that you're getting for doing nothing, right? Technically. So that's a very simplified way to think about it. Now, imagine a situation where your father didn't even buy that house. Just think of yourself today. You came from nothing. Maybe your father was a policeman, and your mom, was a teacher. They didn't really have any money. They struggled. You had a good life, a decent life, but you didn't grow up rich at all. And you did all the right things that everybody has told you to do, right? You went to school and all of that stuff. And today you're a 20-something-year-old guy or 30-something-year-old guy and you want to buy a house. Guess what? The median price of a house in the US today is $412,000. Think about that. The median price of a home, a single family home. We're not talking about commercial property here. A home that you're going to live in, the median price is $412,000. So let's say that is $400,000. If you want to buy a house, you got to put maybe anywhere from 10 to 20, maybe 25% down. For the purposes of this example, let's say you're going to put down 25%, right? 25% of $400K is about $100K. Most people don't have $100K in their account. I can guarantee you, if you are watching this video, 99% of everyone watching this video do not have $100,000 in their account. So that means that just right off the bat, you cannot afford a house in this country, at least in a decent neighborhood, right? So, but let's just say you figured out a way to get 100K. Maybe you're lucky. You have the 100K you've been saving for a long time, or you got, money from your family or whatever the case may be. And you put down that down payment. It means you got to get the remaining 300K from somewhere. You got to get it from the bank, right? Because even though you're buying the house, technically you do not own the home. You only own 25% of that home if you put 100K down. Now you're getting the 300K from the bank. Who owns the banks? The rich people, as we said. Now you got to pay this mortgage over 30 years at maybe 5%, 7% interest. Who owns the bank? So you're going to be paying this, they're going to give you money. The people that own the banks are going to give you the money to buy this home, and you are going to be paying them from your job, from the money that you make from your job for the next 30 years, right? Okay, now let's go to your job. You have a job, to simplify this example, you are making $120,000 in a year, which means maybe you're making $10,000 a month, right? Off the bat, about $4,000 of that money you're never going to see. It's going to taxes and other things, 401k, all of that stuff. So really, your take-home pay is only $6,000. Now you have a home, right? You have the job. If you're lucky enough, you have the job. You still have to now pay for your home, assuming your mortgage is $2,000 or $2,500 a month. You're paying back to the bank, right? But you're already working, making this money at your job. Who owns the job? You spend all of your waking day away from your family, away from your friends, away from doing all of the things you love doing, working 9 to 5. Nowadays, it's really 9 to 9. Most people take their work home, right? You spend all of this time working for these rich people that own the companies. They are the same people that own the banks, right? So now you can see how this is developing. Okay, again, you need a car to get to your job, right? Or to get around. You cannot buy the car outright. You got to go get a car note. Again, similar to what you did with your home, you got to go to the bank. They got to give you a loan to buy this car. You got to pay interest on it. Say, out of this money that you're making, you're paying the same people back. The people that own the banks, that for your mortgage, own the banks, for your loan, and then the same people that you're working for, the rich, the uber rich people that you're working for. So what next? You got to pay your bills. When you pay these bills, it's the same big companies, the utility companies, electrical companies, the internet companies. These are the same people that own all of these things. When you go buy groceries, all of the things that you eat, the same rich people owns these big businesses. Entertainment, movies, the same people, your money that you're making from working hard, from busting your ass, is the same money that you are putting back and spending on the things that these rich people are giving to you. So this is a cycle that is that is extremely difficult to break. Now, that's what happens with ordinary people. So let's talk about rich people, how they make money. Someone that owns $20 million, as an example, can make $500,000, $500,000 just by doing nothing. Their money working for them. They wake up, go to bed, do nothing. They can make $500,000 a year. So if they get all of their expenses under that threshold without doing anything, just going to bed and waking up, they may never have to touch that $20 million for the rest of their lives. Now you can now supersize that. If you have 100 million, you can make a couple of $2 million a year just by doing nothing. Now think about that. you now have $1 billion. Easily you can make $20, $30 million a year just by going to bed and doing nothing. Now, for most regular people, most of the money that you own, the money that you make, you're going to spend it throughout the course of your life. Most of us are not going to be able to leave anything behind for our kids or grandkids because we are not able to build wealth. For wealthy people, it is the opposite. The money that they've acquired over time from their families, their fathers, their grandfathers, and it's been in the system for such a long time that the descendants that are enjoying some of the monies today did absolutely nothing besides just hitting the genetic lottery. If you think about the folks that own Johnson & Johnson, the descendants today that are just millionaires were just born into the family. They didn't do anything. The same thing with Disney. That's why, people talk about the Rockefellers. All of those families that are living today, they didn't do anything. They are just a beneficiary of being born into those families. So what that means is we keep spending all of our money to try and keep up, to just try and survive, right? Paying all these bills with our economic activities, because that's how society is now structured. We are making all these people richer. So guess what they can do? They can now continue to save money. So when they say an average person cannot afford a $400, $500 emergency, that is the reason we cannot save money. Most of us cannot save money because we have to pay just to survive on what on our homes, on our cars, on childcare, on transportation, on just basic things. We're not even talking about luxury things here. If you're making $60,000 a year in this country, you can barely survive. So we are paying all this money to these rich people. We are going on this hamster wheel. And what are they doing with the money? They are saving it in the bank. Now they already own everything. There's nothing else for them to own. Remember, what we own as regular people are our homes. That's the only way that we can build wealth. So what do? They now start buying up our homes because they have to continue to build their wealth, right? So they come and now buy up our homes. So let's say your home is worth $400,000 today. These rich people, through funds, private equity funds, or other kinds of real estate funds, can come and offer you money you can't refuse. They can offer you maybe $100K more than it's really worth. Your $400,000 home, they could offer you $500,000. You may say, no, I don't want $500,000. Okay, $550K. They give you $200K over what it's worth. They don't care. They are playing the long game. So they're buying up all of these homes. Single family homes. In many big cities today, private equity companies, big companies, are the biggest landlords in those cities. In places like Las Vegas, Houston. There are many cities, Miami, Los Angeles, private equity companies that are owned by rich people. The limited partners in private equity companies are rich people. These are the people that put money into these entities that now go out and buy up all of our single family homes. And then when they buy all of this up, what can they do? Now they will say, well, you still need a place to live. You still need a house to sleep in, to rest your head. We're now going to rent it to you with jacked up prices. So you cannot afford to buy a home. You cannot build wealth. And now all of the money that you're making, it now has to go to you paying rent. So when you're paying rent, so what this means is you have absolutely zero way to actually build wealth. So the only avenue that you had to build wealth before, which is through single family homes, that has now been taken away from you by these rich people. So now you have to pay more. just to rent $5,000 a month, $4,000 a month, and you're barely scraping by. So now you're going to your job to go work for rich people. You're busting your ass working for rich people, paying rent, right? You have zero recourse to save money because everything that you make, that you take home, you have to just spend to survive. And then you don't have any safety net, right? Like, you are now stuck with this job. You have no recourse. There's nothing you can do. You cannot quit the job. You know why? Because you're not going to have health insurance to take care of yourself. Because your health insurance is tied to this job. If you don't work, you don't make money. So not only it is that you don't make money, you don't even have basic things. If you fall sick, you're not going to be able to go to the hospital. Why? Because you don't have health insurance. So you are stuck on this hamster wheel. You are stuck on this hamster wheel. So many people have now said, okay, come on, man. So what is the solution to this? Like, are you saying we got to tax rich people? As I mentioned briefly earlier, when you and I work and we make income, we make our wages, we don't even see the taxes is already taken up front. We don't see all of that money, right? For rich people, it is very different. All of their money, they don't make income, so they don't even pay as much in taxes as we do, because the way that they make money, which is through properties, right? The tax rate is even different. So even though they have more money, they don't even pay as much as we do. If they don't take money out, they don't pay taxes. And this money can continue to grow because it is not realized. They use fancy words like unrealized gains, right? They may put $1 million into an investment. That $1 million has now grown to 1.5 million, right? Nobody is saying to tax the million, but at least it's grown to 1. Can we tax that? No. It's not realized yet. It is not realized. So it goes to 2 million. Can we tax? No. You cannot tax it. Why? Because it is not realized. Whenever they eventually tax it, they don't even pay the same rate as we pay. So what are they able to do with this accumulated wealth? They're able to use it to even buy up all of our wealth. So that is why and how this cycle, we're not going to be able to get off of it. They told you that you work hard, you do everything right, you can build wealth. It is all a lie. You know it, and I know it.